Oh, I got to continue. All right. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hank Hunt. I'm with Lee. I'm one of the partners at Lee Chandler Enterprises. And my partner is standing in the background. And we have a very interesting, dynamic young lady that's with us today. Her name is Jasmine Willois. And currently she's out in San Diego, California. We have rain. I'm sorry, Jasmine. I apologize. It's raining here. Y'all probably haven't had rain in a month of Sundays. Is that so?
It's definitely not raining out here, but
Well,
we
I'm
would
sorry.
welcome it. Let's just say that.
But we're going to have, I think, after talking with Jasmine for a while, I don't want to steal her thunder. I think our listeners, Jasmine, will be very, for those who don't know about you, I think they'll be very impressed and intrigued by what it is that you bring to the marketplace for mutual investors or for investors. And even though you are on the higher end of the typical investment spectrum, I think that you will be able to let people know that there are still opportunities that will allow them to get from where they are to the bigger leagues, if not the big leagues, but a bigger league in the whole investment, I would say, industry, so to speak. Okay. So as we've talked, if you'll just be so kind to let our viewers know a little bit about your company, and then we'll just take it from there. Is that fine?
No, definitely. Thank you so much, Hank. And I appreciate you guys thinking of me to have me on the show, Leland, as well. Thank you very much. Yeah, education is definitely key. What my first goal is to do that. About 2 years ago, we set out a mission, 5K and 5Y, which is just educate 5,000 families in the next 5 years, to learn about mortgage note investing. And so what we're doing, what my company is doing, is called the Note Assistance Program. We're taking the normally reserved assets, which would be mortgages, the mortgages that you guys have right now, and we are teaching the average investor how to profit from them. So these assets are normally reserved for hedge funds, right? Banks. You wonder what Wall Street's doing on the bond side. They're buying mortgages, and that's what the big fuss is about. And so a lot of us are not privy to the fact that we can even buy mortgages, right? Yet and still, we're partaking into this game. And so that's one of the things we're excited about bringing to you guys. And one of the questions I always ask listeners, if this is the first time hearing about it, is this: do you have a mortgage? And if so, do you remember getting a letter from your servicer saying that you have to send your payments elsewhere? If so, that's what we do.
So what I think I just heard you say is, whomever it is that services the mortgage on the front end doing all the paperwork is not the person that will reap the benefits of your monthly mortgage installment.
No, those are people that we hire, that you will hire once I teach you how to do this business. And once you get a mortgage and you buy one, you will have a servicer who will stand in between you and the borrower and collect the payments for you and do all the hard work, right? So just think about the game Monopoly, right? When we play Monopoly, there's always that one guy in the corner with his hat, right? You may or may not know his name, but his name is Uncle Pennywise. Or Pennybags, excuse me, Uncle Pennybags. Yes. So look up Uncle Pennybags, and you will see that he is the guy, he's the banker of the game. And he sits there the whole time while we walk around and try to acquire this property and rent this rental and this hotel, and we're running around, and he's happy the entire time, doesn't care what we do, who loses it, because he's a bank. He's doing nothing but watching us run around. And that's what we're teaching people how to do, is be the bank.
So then that analogy is that the bank always wins.
Oh, and we know this. This is nothing new. Yes.
Yeah. So you're teaching people how to be their own bank, or be a bank, so to speak.
I'm teaching you how to step into the shoes of the bank, in the sense that, no, we're not going to have you open up a brick and mortar and take FDIC insured like deposits. But the main function of the banks before they started doing that was to make sure that they can take these mortgages and make money from them, right? And one of the fun facts that I found is that some of the biggest mortgage holders out there is still some of the companies in Britain. So our mother country is still, it was the most mind-blowing thing I just realized over the last 2 weeks. They still are still riding on our curtails, if you can understand. They're still living off of us. There's so much money made in mortgages. They are the ones that are holding most of it. So what I want to teach you guys is, one of my missions is to see if we can get a lot of our mortgages in the hands of Americans. And not just American companies, but Americans, because I do believe, and if you follow me, I do believe once we do that, we will be able to reduce the volatility that happens during these downturns, like the recessions. So where am I going with that? Right now, we're in the middle of a recession. We may or may not feel it, some of us, but there's some downtime for a lot of people, right?
Right.
A lot of these people, everyone is running around right now racing to figure out how they're going to do what? Pay the bank. Whether it's your landlord or if it's your tenant, you guys are all rushing around to pay someone so they can get their payment to the bank. It's the person that holds their mortgage, right?
Yeah, right. Correct.
So that's the position that you want to be in when things go crazy, if you ask me, right? Where you're sitting around just waiting for everyone else to figure out how to pay you.
Now, help me, because we were talking on the front end, and I think I understand what you said. In previous podcasts, we've been talking about pre-foreclosures, trying to get people interested in pre-foreclosures. How do pre-foreclosures tie in with mortgage notes, if at all?
Yeah, I probably need a little more clarity on what you mean by pre-foreclosures. What does that mean in your industry?
In my understanding is that there's an individual who hasn't made. In fact, I think we're going to hit that bubble sometime soon once the moratorium is lifted. Individuals who have not been able to make their mortgage payment for the last 90, 126 months, and they will be faced with this enormous balloon payment that they won't be able to make, and they're going to have to surrender their property. They're not in foreclosure, so they want to get from under this house, and they don't know how to do that. So there's this foreclosure that you can. Okay.
Right. Okay. So if I understand correctly, you're talking about the market where you would approach the borrower and say, we understand that you may not be able to pay for the mortgage, and let me help you creatively either sell the house, do a wrap, and all that other good stuff that you guys are taught to do creatively. So yeah, no, it's really different in the sense that the pre-foreclosures that you talk about, that's you're still coming from the standpoint of the house, right? You still have to deal with the borrower. Okay.
Right. Okay.
What happens on my end is that we are the person that you eventually, that mortgage can change hands 3 or 4 times while you're still talking to the borrower, right?
Gotcha,
and so
okay.
We're the one that's in control. I liken it to one of the miracles about this industry is that everything we do with your mortgage, we do it while you're sleeping. You have no idea. You're at work, you're sleeping. We're trading your mortgage all day. You are none the wiser. And unless we send you a hello or goodbye letter, right, from your servicer, you're none the wiser that we're making money off your mortgage. Your mortgages are traded. Here's a fun fact. Each mortgage that's created is traded enough times to create $1 million worth of commissions. Wrap your head around that. You buy a mortgage, one mortgage created by a bank, okay, your mortgage. And by the time the 30 years elapses on that, me and my friends will have traded that amongst each other so many times that we've created over $1 million worth of commission.
That's crazy.
That's the power of what's happening right now.
I mean, but that's crazy. I was telling Leland, I moved into a house August 1st of last year.
Okay.
And once it was, quote, seasoned, 90 days, 6 months, all of a sudden, I was just inundated with people who wanted me to take another 0.5% mortgage deduction. And, they were willing to give me more than my original mortgage and all that other stuff. And, and it's like, okay, so that's not exactly what you're talking about, or maybe it is what you're talking about, but I mean, it's like a feeding frenzy.
Well, what's happened with the mortgage industry, because we're so mature at this point, right, is that, and this is what we love and why I'll act with the secondary mortgage market. So the space, just to start from the beginning, I operate in the secondary mortgage market. Okay. So on the origination side, when you walk into a bank and you create a mortgage with them or you get a mortgage, right, you guys dress up nice and you tell them you're going to pay on time and they say, well, this is what we're going to give you. All that happens. As soon as the ink dries on that paper, there are different stages in which banks are going to call me to sell their loans. Okay. And that's when you will get that letter saying, please send your payment elsewhere. And so the origination side of it, right? Mm-hmm. That's when you're worried about credit. That's when you're worried about credit scores and jobs and debt to income ratios. By the time it gets to me, I already see who you are. Okay. You paid or you haven't paid. Okay. and we've identified you as a
qualified already, right? So hey, I'm good. I can buy this.
Well, the point is that you've qualified. You now have a loan, but the question is your loan? What is your loan worth? And the loan is worth you as your behavior, your paying behavior. So if I call up the loan servicer and say, I would like to buy Hunt's loan, but I'm going to ask him for the pay history and your servicing notes. Why? Because one, I want to make sure if you paid every month on time. A lot of people do not do that. A lot of people are always 30 days behind. So those are going to be what they call semi-performing notes, and we're going to price them differently, right? Because you're not paying every time. If you're perfect pay, then I may pay 90 to 100% par for that note. If I find someone that 90, 60, 10 years behind, which I will buy, okay, then I'm going to offer somewhere closer to 50, 60 cents on the dollar for that. And so that's how I'm making my money, because I'm buying all these loans at a discount. And then going back to your part of the story is now I'm the owner of the loan and you're trying to get a hold of the borrower and saying, hey, I'm going to contact the bank, which is me. I'm going to find out a way to get in touch with Jasmine, Jazz Up Indy, my company, okay, and put forth some options to see if they will do a short sale, if they will do anything to entertain releasing the lien. And nothing happens until I do that. You either pay me off in full or I will work something out with you, but I'm the master of the universes in that scenario. So that's what I want you to understand. You guys are coming from the standpoint of, we will help you communicate with your bank to help you get out of the situation. I want you to just say, I'm the bank. Let me know what you want to do. And I'll let you know if we're going to let it roll or not.
Gotcha. So how, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just in case for someone who's out there listening. How does someone find out about the products that you have available to them? You know, because again, I'd never heard of, you know, what of the non-performing notes in the sense that you're talking about them. So
right. You know, most people think, why would you buy a note that's, and then they think, why would a bank sell a note that's performing? This is stuff that it goes against our basic intuition, and it really causes anguish to the normal investor, right? Like, why in the world would a bank sell you a performing note? There's got to be a trick here. And why in the world would you buy a note, Jasmine, in North Carolina that was delinquent for over 10 years? Well, I made over 120% return on that note. We'll have to share that story later. But these are the type of things that someone's got to be the bottom feeders of this industry, in the secondary mortgage industry. Someone's got to take these mortgages that have gone delinquent and bad and just clear them up. And that's what we're doing, right? We're clearing up all the title issues. So a lot of you guys are used to renovating homes, right? Painting, hammering, putting in the doors and all that good stuff. For us, we're renovating title. We're doing all the stuff that makes the traditional real estate agent just get stuck on stupid. We can't do anything with this house. The title's messed up. And it goes into this black hole. We're the people that know how to correct and fix that title and then make it now marketable so you can get it onto the market. And so a lot of times what we're doing is we're buying the ugliest the ugliest note in the neighborhood, right? You might have that one house that's been vacant forever and every realtor says, we just can't get our hands on it because the title's dirty. We don't know how to get in touch with the bank. That's us. Wow. So I'm training people to go out and get that title, that mortgage, clean it up, and then put it out there to the realtor.
Were you in the industry during the 2007 to 9 housing bust?
Not in mortgage notes, but I was definitely in the industry as a stockbroker. I was doing day trading, and I was also doing flips.
Okay.
Very familiar with real estate. And I've been doing both real estate and financial advising for the past 25 years.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Is there an entry fee to play in your arena?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this. So as far as education, where do you find out about the assets and everything? We have strategically created a podcast called the Naked Notes Podcast. Feel free to check that out. It's an educational podcast just about mortgage loan investing. If you start at season 1, episode 1, it's going to take you to why we started the podcast. Then it's going to start with what is a note, all the way to how we profit with notes. So check out the Naked Notes Podcast. It'll teach you about We even have a whole episode on where and how we source notes, where I get my notes from, right? So
Okay.
I particularly get notes from banks. So I do not work with private investors. I work with hedge funds, small and large banks, credit unions. That's where I prefer to get my paper from. And I sell that to our members individually. And so what I can tell you is that mortgage notes run the gamut. A lot of you guys are thinking to yourself about the mortgage you have, right? If you're in California, you're in New York, you're in Texas, you're like, I have a $300,000 mortgage. I can't afford to buy that. What is in between those states? We're buying mortgages in Indiana, North Carolina, Arkansas, right? All across America, there are mortgages. Alabama's a really, really great place right now because a lot of the mortgages that were written in 2007, 2005, right? These were very, very low mortgages. And now those houses, now that NASA's moving out there, right? These houses are now worth close to $80,000 to $100,000. So you have to understand this is where we're getting our opportunity to make this amount of money is because we're buying based on the loan. So to be clear, we put our offers based on the unpaid balance, whatever is owed on the loan.
But I'm sorry. Could you?
Getting you excited.
I'm sorry.
I like it. Okay.
I'm quite expressive. I do apologize. Will you repeat what you just said? The value of the loan.
Yes, sir. That's the power right there.
Okay.
So let's talk about this. If someone has a loan, right? You originate a loan for $100,000.
Yes.
And let's say they take 8 years and they're paying it consistently, then they reach a hurdle, right? And also they're not making payments. For those 8 years, the loan probably went down. Let's just pick a number. Let's call it 90,000. Okay. So he's paid down 10,000. There's 10,000 equity in it. I'm going to come and paste my offer based on the 90,000, not the 100,000. And what happens is typically over those 8 years, that house is now appreciated. So the house is now worth 150,000, right? My loan is 90. So I'm going to come in there and say, this loan is not performing. I'm only willing to offer, call it 50 cents on the dollar. So I'm going to offer you $45,000 for this note. Okay. They're going to say yes. Now I'm in the note. Now I don't own the home, but I'm on the note for 45,000. The guy owes me 90,000 plus late fees, plus whatever else he's delinquent on. So I'm going to pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Hunt, assuming this is you in this scenario, which I know it's not.
That's okay. I'll take it. You'll
be the delinquent borrower today. And I'm going to say, Mr. Hunt, and I'm going to train you, not yourself, but my service or my attorney, you're going to get a call and a letter, notice of default letter saying, Mr. Hunt, you owe Miss Willois $90,000 plus all these late fees. So it's a total of $98,000. Here's your notice of default. What and how would you like to resolve this? So at that point, now we're cooking with fire, right? Now we've got a homeowner who's like, I need to figure out what I need to do.
Not fire. I mean, you got gas. You got gas now.
And the house is worth $150,000. I'm only in at 45. It may take me another $10,000 to get across the board, paying the attorney, any back taxes, right? But once I get full foreclosure done, now I own that house. I'm going to teach you to go and flip that and sell it to a flipper, right? Leave some meat on the bone, sell it to them. You got to, for, I don't know, we're in 45, 55, sell it to them for 65, 75, let them make the rest of the profit. But this is how we're making money without leaving our homes, without going up, putting up bandit signs, without chasing, pocket listings. We're getting inventory on a monthly basis. My community, the Notice Systems program, what we do is we send out inventory to our members on a monthly basis. This month alone, we've released over $28 million worth of unpaid balance. On average, it's between 20 and 80 million of unpaid balance as UPB that we give you. It comes straight to your mailbox. You go through, you scroll through and you look at all the notes that are outstanding. You determine whether it's performing or not, and you put in offers accordingly. And I let you know whether or not you are a successful bidder.
Now, you mentioned about training. How long is this training program? You said 4 sessions.
Well, I teach 4 times a year. So if you guys are interested in learning from me firsthand, I do 2-day courses that I teach. This next one's going to be in July in Houston. So I have an office in Houston. We also do in New York and Los Angeles. So we have 4 locations: San Francisco, New York, Houston, and Los Angeles, where I teach 4 times a year. So I make it convenient for you to drop in, and I will, for 2 days, give you a proprietary system on how to negotiate from banks, where to find these things, and how to profit from them. So that's one opportunity. The free option is that podcast I mentioned, Naked Notes Podcast. So you can listen to that at any point. Just tune in right now. You can find it on Google, Spotify, iTunes. The 2-day class is going to cost you $1,100 to be in person, $600 online at Zoom. If you show up in person, you can bring another partner and split it in half. So it can be $550 for 2 people to attend in person. So that's one way to learn. Lastly, our proprietary program, that's the one where you get hands-on training and we walk you through buying a note and we get the inventory on a monthly basis. So we're going to send you inventory for 2 years, right? You're going to sign up for the program. The program itself goes through 3 phases. The first phase takes about 4 weeks, right? So you go through 4 weeks of training and then you start getting the inventory. And then we're expecting you, this is a pay to play program. Let's be clear. Okay. You're going to pay. And then now you're going to be able to play in the sandbox with the big boys. We're going to send you the inventory. You're going to look through the tape. And once you find a note that looks attractive to you, we're going to help you acquire the note, take it down and profit from it. That is the full gamut of the training. Once you learn that, we're going to let you loose.
Okay. So there's some hand holding until there's some success.
Money made. Right. Exactly.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That is absolutely crazy.
The goal, my friend, and I am going to encourage you, since you're showing so much interest, if you reach out to us, Hank, I will definitely get you a comped ticket to our virtual online meeting, that 2-day thing I was telling you about.
Yes.
So it's going to be July 17th and 18th, Saturday and Sunday. If you let Latrice know, I will clear that we will get you a link so you can attend for the 2 days comped, courtesy of having me on this class, so you can let everybody know about the wealth of information if it's a real deal. If it is,
we talked about this, but I need to. My mind is racing. I'm not feeble-minded. My mind is racing.
It's just the excitement. Trust me. Do not. Well, this is one of those things where it's hard to sleep after you hear about it.
I think, Jasmine, that ignorance is no longer an excuse, and ignorance is no longer bliss. There is so much information, and I think most people aren't further ahead in life. One, because they don't have the information that's necessary to do it, or if they find the information, now they either go through this analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis process, where they're now afraid to just basically step out, because what I'm hearing you say is that if you have enough money to play, for the most part, there's not much to lose.
Well, it's about risk and mitigation. So here's what I want to tell you. You can't come to this program, you can't come to this side of the market with a traditional entrepreneurial hat. You're not starting a business in that traditional sense where you want to cut costs and try to, the whole income and expenses thing. This is a business where you are buying a asset that's considered trash. Okay. You know this up front. You're buying junk. Okay. And so you're going to be, first thing you're going to do is you're going to outlay a lot of money before you make money. So you have to understand. So this is a loss mitigation. You're going to get something that you know is a losing asset. And now your goal, your job is to mitigate that loss and turn it into a profit. So that's the first thing, that's a different mindset that's needed, that you have to come here with in order to succeed. But yeah, one of the things is a lot of people just, once you realize the opportunity, the second thing, like you said, is not just believing that you have an opportunity to take part in this game. For so many years, this education has been intentionally hidden. Okay, this particular part. Okay, there's a lot of different opportunities, as you mentioned, out there, but the banks specifically on a daily basis constantly put out ads, right, to make sure that you are buying mortgages from them at this rate, to make sure that you are comfortable with the 0.05% rate, right? They indoctrinate us with this, knowing good and dang well the type of money that they're making on this side. So this is a covert effort to keep you guys from knowing about this. And here I am now going to put this on blast. I'm that person that you should never let them in. You never told me.
So what I just heard you say, that in the past, it has been intellectual manipulation.
And there's a reason. When you see these profits, you will know why. I got to tell you, I've said this before and I'll stand by it. This is not for everyone. The money looks good. Don't get me wrong, but you have got to have the mindset to deal with it. And that's just the bottom line. Whether you're buying a performing note where they are just supposed to pay every time, there may be a time where they're late, right? And you cannot freak out at that point. You need to act like a bank and go through the legal procedures. So that's one of the things where, we teach you about the mindset and how to get that. That's what's most important.
So what I'm hearing you say, I'm an old athlete, but what you're saying is that you teach a person gets the playbook, but then you help them to understand the various plays.
Yes, and read
once
in
they,
between the lines.
yes, okay. Oh man, this is crazy. This this
The
is
banking game is all about the gray areas, right? It's one thing to get the math. So there's a lot of spreadsheets. You want to make sure that you, I say this facetiously, but make sure that you don't mind reading. You like reading. It's all about contracts, right? So we're going to be going through contracts. You want to make sure that your math skills and your spreadsheet skills are up to par. You don't have to be A in calculus, but you want to make sure how to, how to figure out return ROI on your money and things like that. And you are not intimidated by spreadsheets because we're sending you these, they're called tapes. And so the last one we released had 43 assets nationwide from Alabama, Illinois, Texas, California on it. And these are all random addresses. So they're going to send it to you in an Excel spreadsheet. So like you said, a lot of times now you have a new problem. Before your problem was I don't have enough inventory. Now your problem is I have too much inventory. I think I'm going to go iron my shirts right now.
right.
I think I'm
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a feast of famine. It's just one of those situations where, because of the ebbs and flows of the market, like right now, because you're on the other side of the market, but right now, but based on what I've been reading, and that is that housing sales have gone up. However, there are not enough houses to enter into the sales market right now. So there's a sort of a slowdown, a decline in pre-existing, and the home manufacturers haven't been able to manufacture fast enough to fill the void. Am I sort of kind of right with that?
No, that's 100% what's going on. You hit the nail on the head in the beginning. The banks always win. So here's what I can tell you. During times of recession, I don't even know what I say. Unfortunately, I'm really caught in between this because I was raised a liberal. But I can tell you right now, during the recession, I make more money than I ever make during good times. Okay, we just literally make more money during recessions, and then when times are good, we're making good money then. So banks are on the side where we have 12 million. Last I read, 12 million foreclosures, as you call them, pre-foreclosures, sitting there waiting. The banks do not have enough staff to deal with. They've just been put on hold for this moratorium. Okay, the 12 million homes. Go ahead.
And plus the banks don't want to be. They don't want to be the landlord.
Well, not only that, they also don't want to be the bad guy. Some of these guys, they're not in the market to be foreclosing on you for a house that's under $100,000, right? Next thing they're on Channel 10 news with this guy whose house is worth less than $100,000. They're not into that, right? So what they want to do is risk mitigation. Remember that. So once it becomes that, the first thing they want to do is find someone to sell those loans to. They don't want to go through the foreclosure. Their attorneys are expensive. Wells Fargo's attorney costs $10,000 just to touch the file. My attorney, a lot less, let's just say. So what they will do is they'll sell me the loan.
So you know people?
I know people. So they'll sell me the loan. But that's the beauty of it. This is a very private industry, the secondary market. But when you come through our program, what we do is we give you those resources. I work with the same bank that my seller works with. So when Aquin sells me a loan, I'll say, hey, let me use your attorney. They'll say no problem, so I can finish it because the attorney doesn't want to lose the business just because we sold the loan. Right. And what I will in turn do is give you that attorney. So now you're cooking and with the chef, okay, who you have the same attorney that's foreclosing on bigger loans out there. So you're going to get hedgeway. You're not hiring your uncle, right? Or you're one of your best friends who just graduated from law school. They're not going to have the same chance of getting this foreclosure through on a regular basis. You're now working with the same bank same attorney that's foreclosing on hundreds of thousands of loans for bigger banks. And they're just throwing you into the cognitive system, just making it work.
Plus, Jasmine, what I got from what you just said is that you are playing with the players. I mean, the people who understand the ebbs and flows, the ins and out of the process. You're right there, and because you are there, they recognize you as a player, and you're able to benefit from all of the ins and outs of that process. Is that simplified?
Yeah, we're just the bottom feeders. We're the more and more we are in this industry, my company and my members are becoming more integral parts of this infrastructure because again, these banks, they know that I'm going to buy their junk, the stuff that they don't want to do, and then I'm going to do right by them, right? One of the things right now is that if they sell these things to predatory lenders, someone that's not going to treat the borrowers the right way and do things illegally, then it's all going to trickle back, right? And so just because they sell me the loan doesn't mean that the borrower is not going to sue me and then find out that they want to sue Bank of America because that's where the real money is. And so what they want to do is get rid of these assets into the hand of someone that they know is going to do it legally and properly. So once that relationship and trust is formed, they have no problem calling me and saying, "Hey, we're trying to get rid of these notes."
Let me ask. Let me digress a little bit, if I may.
Yes.
So, hypothetically, I sign up for your program. I come to your 2-day seminar. I'm all juiced about the possibilities and things of this. And I think I have the resources to qualify.
Right.
So after I've paid to come to your class, now it's time to fish or cut bait. So I'm ready to fish. So is there a sort of like a minimum or a standard fee of entry in that process? Am I getting too?
Yes, let's talk about that. We actually touched base on that a little bit. I don't know that I finished my train of thought. So first thing I want to let you know is that there are different mortgage sizes across the board, right? I bought a mortgage as low as $4,000. Okay, the average mortgage that my community buys is going to be between $15,000 to $25,000. Okay, and so as far as next steps and what happens with my program, every program is different. What we do is we offer our proprietary hands-on program. If you want us to walk you through your first note, that cost is $69.95, so a little bit under $7,000. You are welcome to bring a partner for that as well, split the cost. What will happen is we only want you to sign up when you're ready to buy. So like you said, I'm assuming you juice, you're ready to take action. Otherwise, if you still need more education, we will lead you to, we got books to recommend you for. Okay. This is not the program where you're going to get any CDs. You're not going to get any books. You're going to get hands-on. We're going to set up a call with you once a week, one call once a week. We're going to set up an hour call, do something, leave you with homework. You're going to come back to the next call. And you're going to move forward progressively through phase one. After phase one, you're now released to start looking at the tape, and you're going to start looking at the inventory. You're going to get it on a monthly basis. First month, second month, third month, no pressure, but we want you to find something that you feel comfortable moving forward with in your price range. So when we talk about entry-level costs, we tell people typically what you want to have is between $30,000 and $40,000 to get started. The good news is it doesn't have to be in your pocket right now. Okay? You can find that in your self-directed IRA. All day, 90% of our people roll over money from their old jobs into a self-directed IRA. You're familiar with those, right? And then they take that money to invest. So now they're in the game without having to upset their normal everyday life. So if you have $30,000, $40,000 sitting in the old IRA, contact myself or one of my vendors. I'll tell you who. They will teach you how to roll that over. Now you're playing with us. You get in the program. You do the phase one. You start getting inventory. This is where the money's going. Like I said, you're going to spend between $7,000 for the education. You're going to pick up a note. Typically, let's say it's a $15,000 note. Now you're in about what, 22, right? So you're in about 22,000. Typically, if you buy what we tell you to, which is meaning avoiding Florida, California, New York, New Jersey, those are higher expense, longer timelines. You're only going to spend another $5,000 to get you across the board, meaning to a possession of the home. So that other, you're in about $27,000. So that's where we're coming up close to 30, 40,000. And if you buy a larger note, or if there's larger taxes, you're going to spend that $5,000 to pay your attorney, any outstanding taxes that are there, and any ancillary costs for, recording your documents, all that other good stuff. Now the foreclosure is complete. You have a home. Here's the good news. There are about 15 to 20 different exit strategies. So between the time you buy the note and you foreclose, you may make money somewhere between them. The last case scenario is that you're going to take possession of the home, right? Once you do that, if you happen to take possession of a home, that's when you reach out to those fortune builders guys, or all those guys who are out there look hungry for inventory. You are typically going to be in this asset about 33 cents on the dollar. These guys are going to end up paying you 60 cents on the dollar. Ask me how I know, because I know what they're looking for in their numbers. So that's how we're going to make money on that end. But as mentioned, the borrower can call up and say, I want to fight for my house. Do you mind taking payments? I have reinstatement. I've got a refi and say payoff amount, right? So there's so many different ways before you get that house to make money. And that's why we love this game, because the options is not just 2 or 3 ways to make money in this business. You buy one note, you've got 10 to 15 ways to make money, my friend.
So, okay. So this is a multifaceted process. You've mentioned self-directed IRAs a couple times. And one of the things that we try to help people to understand is that if they're able to roll over their corporate IRA into a self-directed IRA or 401k, then they can do things with it themselves. And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people know that they have the ability to do that. They just sort of kind of like letting it ride, and someone else is managing. You can You can make
Sometimes they're not
money.
even managing it.
I'm sorry?
Sometimes no one's managing it. Sometimes no one's managing it, just sitting there getting nothing.
So people who have IRAs and 401ks, if you're not rolling them over to a self-directed IRA or 401k, you ain't making no money. Now, hang on. I am not an attorney. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. I'm just a poor old country boy that my grandfather would just tell me common sense ain't common,
Yes,
but
sir.
this just makes too much sense to be uncommon.
I like that. I like that.
Well,
Yeah, self-directed IRAs are one of the biggest kept secret. I would say kept secrets, because going back to who's running things right now, right? You're
Right.
looking at Morgan Stanley, you're looking at TD Watermark Trade, all those bigger companies, USB. These guys control the airwaves, okay? They want all that money rolled over and kept into their accounts.
Right.
So they can use stocks and bonds. If let them tell the story, that's all you can buy: stocks, bonds, REITs. And REITs are just stocks and bonds put in another portfolio. So really, their goal is to make sure that we are funnel vision into that stuff. And so they drown out all the self-directed IRA firms. Meanwhile, self-directed IRA firms have the same authority, the same capacity as these guys. They just don't have the money, the volume, and the voice. And so what we're doing is making sure that we can get them that attention, because with that comes a freedom. Wall Street doesn't like that, because if you're in a self-directed IRA, you can buy stocks, or maybe you can buy a business from Mr. Grant, Mr. Hunt, excuse me. Or maybe you can buy a note from myself. Maybe you can invest in your friend's business. So there's so many different things, buy apartment complexes, but you are allowed to do things that you know how to do. And you don't have to rely on a stockbroker to manage your portfolio. So that's one of the reasons why self-directed IRAs are not necessarily known by everyone. But we're here to tell you, it's easy as pie. If you listen to my podcast, we are sponsored by numerous self-directed IRA firms. Right now, we have Quest out of Texas, who's sponsoring our podcast. M2 Trust has sponsored it many times. So there are many of them popping up all around. Next Generation. There's another one that we work with out of New Jersey. So definitely.
Well, we're going to be having a podcast with them in a few days. Brittany is she's.
I said hello.
Oh yeah, Miss Brittany is special. So, this, I mean, oh, man.
I think you're going to do well in this. It's just, I see your wheel spinning. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're equally as bewildered.
Here's my problem. It's not a problem. Here's my opportunity. Bad English. I is not a spring chicken. So the things that I'm looking to do now is to set my children up so they're able to participate and take advantage of the things that were not afforded to me when I was their age.
Amen, my friend. Amen. So
if I can help them to do that, then Lord have mercy, Jesus.
Yeah, one of the, I don't know if I mentioned on this podcast, but the people that we cater to are going to be accredited investors and people looking to build family offices. So if you're not familiar with that, family office is really what he's talking about. And that's really one of the
talk about family offices all the time.
Okay, wonderful. So we're on the same page. Yeah. Believe it or not, family offices are some of our biggest clients to take on these mortgage notes, because here's the bottom line. You guys are looking, like you said, to build generational wealth for your family, but you don't necessarily want to dictate what your kids do with their lives, right? And so at the end of the day, having a note portfolio, performing one that's paying you. I just sold a portfolio of 8 performing notes with a 20% return to a gentleman that had about 3 California notes, a Las Vegas note, a lot of good solid assets in it. 13-year is average on it, and he's going to be collecting over $3,200 a month, $40,000 a year of this portfolio. So when you think about scaling this up, right? And that's 13-year average. There's average mostly about 20 years on this. So next 20 years, he's going to be getting closer $40,000 a year income by just people paying their mortgages, right? And so what I'm going with is with your children, having a family office is going to allow you guys to have income coming in, to give them opportunities to come and, yes, employ themselves, right? Help you out with the firm,
right?
Make enough money, yet still pursue their dreams, right? So what, your kid doesn't want to go to college, he wants to be an artist. Well, let him do that. Come home to the office, help us with our notes. In the meantime, get out there and start painting and not worrying about how much the paint cost.
Jasmine, my cup runneth over. Is there a possibility that we could circle this wagon, sometime down the road where we get back and then start to pinpoint a couple initiatives?
I would love to just, I feel like time is going fast here as well. And of course I talk fast. So
Yeah, but no,
slowing it down and making sure that we can get to some of the nuances of this. I'm definitely excited to come back and join you with you guys. You guys have been nothing but gentlemen to me.
well, I'm thinking that when people hear this, they probably will have some questions, and they'll be able to send the questions to us or to you. So if
Either
you
way.
would be, and what we want to do is, as I said, this is going to be recorded.
Okay.
And what we want to be able to do is to give you the street cred that you rightfully deserve. You have mentioned the name of your company, your podcast a couple times. So if you would be so kind as to slow it down, because we'll have everything transcribed,
Okay.
so that for people to get in touch with you after today, if you would, just tell them how to get in touch with you and how to participate or view your podcast.
Of course.
We really appreciate that. And then we will look at circling the wagon somewhere down the road.
Very
I
excited.
think Leland would be, I think he too would be encouraged, particularly as we talk to next generation and yourself. That'll just sort of kind of really fill our cup more than it is today, where we can be an honest broker, a partner for you, where we really where iron truly sharpens iron in this process of helping people to realize that they can have more, they can be more. All they have to do is trust the process.
Yes, sir. And as mentioned, I would love nothing more to spend more time with you now that the quarantine is over. Might bring my butt out there to come and take you guys to lunch, my friend. But I'm definitely excited about working with you. There's a lot of synergies, I do believe, with our two companies, firms, and our clients. I would love to have some of my members work with you to figure out how to do some of this tax, tax segregation. Are you going to help us out with taxes?
Well, yeah, through real estate, there's this thing called segregation, cost segregation, which is phenomenal tax benefits. And depending on what your people do with the now, let me ask this question. I need to get off, but here's the thing. Do you just help them with homes? Are they single? Are they multi? Are they apartment complexes? Do you do anything with hotels?
All of the above. Anything that has a note on it, I can buy, and I do. The only thing I'm not buying right now, and I jokingly say are gastro bypass loans, but I'll be working on those. Cell phone. Your cell phone is a loan right now. They have a contract on that. It's transferable.
That's right, they do. Yes.
And student loans. Those are the three loans I'm not buying right now. But yeah, hotel loans, sold one Class A building in Manhattan, $80 million building. The note sold for $40 million. That's my biggest trade of since. I've sold, there are multi-families, there are apartment buildings. I sold some apartments up in Pacoima, California. So yeah, whatever there's a note on, if someone's looking to sell it, I'm the person they end up calling eventually.
Wow.
Buying and selling the notes is a very special tea. So that's what I want to teach you guys to do, because not everyone knows how to do it. So if you become someone that's known to find people who know how to buy and know how to buy it, then you will be the go-to guy as well. There's enough space out here for all of us.
Oh yeah, there's enough. Is there anything else you wanna say today before we do a wrap up with this? This has been most exciting, informative, intriguing.
Just make sure I want to see you at my class in July, and I'll just leave you guys with my contact information. As mentioned, I only have 2 more opportunities I'm teaching this year. So we'll be in July in Houston. In October, we are usually in New York City. To find out more about how to attend those, you can go to Eventbrite and type in Note Lab, or contact my assistant, Latrice Nervous, at invest@noteassistanceprogram.com. That's invest@noteassistanceprogram.com. Our website is also live and active. So if you go to that noteassistanceprogram.com website, you can talk to her live. She's going to pop up in one of those chat bubbles. And you can talk to her that way as well. Our phone number is 855-541-6683. And that is a text-friendly number as well. So we look forward to hearing from you. Listen, guys, the education is out there. Like he said, ignorance is no longer an excuse. and it's not fun anymore. So what we want to do is teach you how to have that fun making money and changing your financial trajectory.
Well, and with all of that, you know, people talk about the whole idea of common sense, but in my waning years, I realized that common sense ain't common, and you can't rely on your close knit buddies who call themselves experts, one dimensional experts, to get you from where you are to where you want to be. You have to reach out and surround yourself with that. You talk about that family office, so to speak, the experts. So ma'am,
Yes,
I am so appreciative of your time today. I'm pretty close to being overwhelmed by the amount of information that you've provided and the enthusiasm for which you've done it. And I just really love that pink hat. So individuals, when you just find the lady with the pink hat, that you know that's her forte.
well, I look
So
forward
with
to meeting you
that,
in person.
I think we have a good wrap. It'll take a couple days for this to be processed, and we'll make certain that we get it out to you